This might literally be my favourite sweater yet. There was one point where I thought, I'm just gonna frog this whole thing. Hey friends, I'm Closerbug and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a super exciting one for me. I've been waiting to make this project for such a long time now, and I thought it would only be nice to bring you along with me to knit the sweater of my dreams. So for this sweater, I've been super inspired by Lappin' and Silly Hands, Sarah's Silly Hands, which I'll put up on screen now. I just really love that chunky, fine yarn combination in this version of Sarah's sweater, which I really love. Sarah has actually used some of the handspun yarn that she's either bought or I've gifted to her, and it's just so lovely to see the yarn in such a beautiful piece and out in the world. It truly fills my heart with joy. I don't really have a set plan for this. I'm sort of going in blind, hoping my whimsy and excitement just gets me to where I want to be. This has literally been a project on my list for the longest time, so I'm super excited to get cracking. I have a lot of confidence now. Let's see how this goes. I've literally, in this bag, have been collecting some super nice yarns for the past few months, including some really nice hand-dyed yarn, as well as some handspun made by me. Before I get into the spoilers of what's in my yarn bag, I finally got my hands on a pair of 20mm knitting needles. These have been on my shopping list for a long time, so I can finally give those a whirl. But yes, as I've said many times already, I'm super excited to get started. So let's have a little look at the yarn and start caking it up. Oops, I accidentally knitted an almost full panel off camera. So much for being a YouTuber. See, the thing is, I either film too much or not enough, and there's literally no in between. So yeah, sorry about that. But I will go through with what I've done, don't you worry. I worked up a couple swatches at the beginning. I was going to base the sweater loosely off this swatch, and I cast on with white and pink and green handspun. I didn't really like how the two yarns worked together. I really wanted the handspun to pop by itself, and I felt like the white was covering it up in places. So a change of plan was in need, and I actually have managed to start my front panel. And not just start, I'm actually kind of just past halfway, maybe, give or take. I think the thing that was holding me back at first was not knowing what order to put my yarns in, especially when some of the yarns are super chunky and bulky, yet some of them are super fine and airy. So it can be difficult to match those yarns up and figure out which sort of pattern to go with. But I've alternated between chunks of 4 rows and chunks of 2 rows. I decided to write out what I was doing as I was going, figuring out which yarn would be best to go next. So I really do recommend writing out a plan, either as you go along, frog it, figure out what works, or if you're confident enough to just go for it, then go for it, why not? I'm really loving how this is coming out and I'm super excited to carry on. I just thought I needed to update you before I keep going. I'm thinking once I finish the first panel, I'm gonna film a little bit more of an in-depth look on how I've made the panel. It's really simple, it's literally just stockinette back and forth in rows. And I keep talking when I put it in front of the camera. I seriously love how these colours are coming out. Oh, I'm just so excited. I'm just so excited for it to be done. I'm gonna finish knitting this first panel and show you when I'm done. Whoa! Oops. So I've just finished the next section of knitting and I'm finally onto the last section. I've literally zoomed right through the second panel. I'm gonna get cracking on this last little section and hopefully I'll have them all sewn up by tonight and we'll be working on the sleeves. We shall see. 2 more to go and then the cast off. Last knit round. She's off the needles. I actually did it. I actually finished it today and it's 3:15 now. So we've got the second panel all ready to go. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember which panel is which. I am loving these as like giant sleeves. This really isn't far off what my first pair of bolero sleeves looked like. They were the biggest sleeves in the world. Now time to work on the sleeves, because they're getting chilly. So I've just taken her off the blocking board and I'm literally so obsessed. Look at these huge sleeves. I'm just in my pink and green element right now. I just love it. Oh my god. I'm so happy. At one point I was really worried how the piece was gonna turn out, but blocking definitely saved my life with these sleeves. Obviously, if I'd have done them any longer, they would have been way too huge. So I think we did okay, guys. This might literally be my favourite sweater yet. I'm so glad I've made this and checked this huge chunky sweater off my list. I've literally wanted to make one for so long now. This is like a super special piece to me with all the handspun yarn and thrifted yarns that I've collected, and it's crazy to think I now have this in my possession. It's so cool. Every time one of these little locks catches my eye, I'm just like so in love. I can't stop looking. I have to say a huge thank you again for the inspiration from Lappin' Lappin' and Sarah Silly Hands. Sarah's actually quite a good friend of mine. She inspires me all the time. You're missing out if you've not seen any of her YouTube videos or makes in general. She's also got a fair few patterns out, which I love. Go and check out her pages, which I've linked down below, as well as Lappin' Lappin'. Both are really cool, incredible designers, so go check out their work if you want to. My hands are very grateful that I finished this project because, yeah, it is a major adjustment changing from like an 8mm needle to a 20. After I'd finished the first panel, I pretty much speed ran the rest of the project, and my hands aren't really happy about that. Because I was new to the 20mm needles, I wasn't sure how much the piece was going to stretch outwards or upwards. Widthwards. When it came to the blocking process, I was so scared. There was one point where I thought, I'm just gonna frog this whole thing. When I was blocking, I stretched out the sleeves so that they would be longer, and then I pulled out the body so it would be wider and not as long. I think it's all right, really. I think it turned out okay. I really want to make a raglan in this sort of style. Maybe get some chunky or slubby handspun on the wheel. Oversized pink and green raglan is definitely on the list. I'm just so happy with how this turned out. I'm literally like over the moon, full of joy, heart is full. That's the same thing. This whole world of making your own clothes is something that I've always loved. I'm just so excited to be a part of it and to have you guys here with me. I just want to say thank you for being here. It's just so lovely to hear all of your comments and suggestions and ideas. It just fills my heart with joy. This community is so super special. I just love it. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. I've hoped you enjoyed the video. If you'd like, you can go follow me on Instagram. I'm quite active on there. And I also sell my handspun yarn every now and again. So that's probably the best place to see updates for that. So if you'd like to know when the next drop is, definitely give me a follow. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.